How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I say this a lot. But it's true. So you are also another person that a lot of people have been asking for. They've been saying, hey, can you check out one of the dentists, Knutson? I'm like, sure. The only thing is I didn't know how to contact y'all because usually I got to find like an email or something. And then there was no like personal email. And I was like, man, how do I get this? And then I saw the website. Usually, it says contact us. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. So I did it like a few days. And yeah, they contacted me. I'm like, okay, sweet.
Worked.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Awesome.
So what do you do?
Well, so I'm a general dentist. Have been for 21 years now. And, as general dentistry, like I do a little bit of everything, right? So I've had days where literally I had a patient that was 1 year old. We were just checking their first little teeth coming in, and I had a patient that was 101. So everything in between, right? So we do cleanings, fillings, crowns to protect the teeth, braces, like clear braces, stuff like that, root canals, all the things.
Is that what you always wanted to do since you were a kid, or how did you get into it?
No, well, so I guess you could say I come by it naturally. My father was a dentist, and he started the practice like in 1977, and so I grew up around it, right? But I didn't really know that I wanted to go into it. I always, I love science, the sciences, but I also love working with my hands, and I wanted to do something like healthcare related. Like I knew that. And so I did a lot of shadowing, like in college and other professions, MDs, chiropractic, stuff like that. And it just all came back to dentistry. Again, like I said, I like to create things. I like to, fix problems right in the here and now, and then like see the results and all that stuff. And so I get to do that every day, which is pretty cool.
Speaking of it, with the teeth, throughout my family, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can answer it. So if there's they say that you can either have like something with gums or something with teeth. Like for example, I've had crooked teeth, I've had braces, but I never had a cavity. The only thing is now I do it. For some reason, people don't do it. Before, when they're younger, like floss and brush your teeth twice, I would do it like once, and then I would never floss. But I never had a cavity or nothing like that. But the gum thing though, like I think they say I have like a, what do you call it? A recession?
Recession?
Yeah, like right here in the front. But they say it's probably because I brushed too hard, because I would go ham on that thing, like super hard. I'm guessing that's not a good thing either, right?
Yeah. So a lot of you can have recession for different reasons, right? And so something is, yes, it's possible to brush too hard. Although we don't see as much of that anymore. Modern brushes aren't as hard as they used to be. But other causes are like some people get it after having braces. When you move the teeth, like the bone on the front of them changes, and sometimes you can end up losing a little bit of bone there, and then the gums go with it, right? And those don't usually progress. So other things like those muscles that attach like your lips to the gums, sometimes those attachments like actually pull the gums down over time. And that's just anatomy. There's nothing you can do about that necessarily. And also, again, it's not bad, but you can also get recession from plain old gum disease, if you're just not taking care of things the way you should.
So what causes, like, why do some people have, like, for example, once they reach adulthood, they have straight teeth, and other people, they just don't? Is it just, I don't know, what's the reason behind it? Or is it just random?
So straight versus crooked teeth, that has a huge genetic component. Okay. So it's just math. Like if the size of your teeth are too big for the size of your jaw, right? Like they all won't fit in there. And so they get crowded. And that's probably the biggest component just from a straight crooked scenario. In general, like we are evolving to have smaller mouths, right? Because we eat easy, soft, processed things. We don't have to chew, bark and twigs and stuff like our ancestors did, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, we don't need third molars anymore, which is why everybody gets them taken out, because we don't have room for them anymore. Our jaws have gotten smaller over time. But other things that can contribute. So early on, like really bad thumb sucking habits can actually shape our palate as it's developing, and it makes it more narrow and it makes it smaller, and you just can't fit all the teeth in there. So that needs to be corrected. Luckily, I mean, we've got such great orthodontics now that, I mean, we can correct pretty much anything and make it straight.
Yeah, I've seen some video. Funny thing. So my daughter, I don't know where. Oh no, I know why. Because on YouTube, on like the shorts, there's this channel called, I think it's called The Dentist. Yeah, it's like he's an orthodontist, but he does these shorts, and they're very interesting and very informative. So, anyways, I asked her, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" She gave me 2 options. No, 3. My bad. First one, she said she either wants to be she's only 9, but she said she wants to be a orthopedic surgeon or an orthodontist. Another one's like I think she's a mechanical engineer. I don't know where she got that from. When I was her age, I was like, man, I want to be like a Pokemon trainer or something like that.
Yeah, right. Like a firefighter, astronaut, stuff like that.
There you go. So I don't know where she got it from, but yeah, I seen a bunch of those videos where like some of it's like really, really, really bad. Like they'll have like maybe 1 or 2 of the teeth are like in the front and this and that, and they show like a time lapse, and like it changes, and even changes like I never noticed like same thing your jaw. Or it changes your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have a question because I'm very curious. Back in the day, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, did humans ever had cavities and all that too, or not?
They did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of archaeological evidence to suggest that there were cavities then. They've found them on old skeletons and that sort of thing. However, the diets were much better than, honestly, from a cavity standpoint. Like they didn't have tons of sugar. They're eating mostly raw, natural foods that didn't stick to your teeth, that just stuff that they didn't eat stuff that caused cavities. There's a lot of evidence that suggests they had gum disease though, because they didn't have the same type of oral hygiene that we have now, and also the life expectancy wasn't as long, so they didn't really have to keep their teeth as long.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So if your life expectancy is 42, like you're probably gonna have a lot of your teeth.
Okay, now that makes more sense. I always wondered that too. I was wondering like, well, how come now we gotta like take care of it so much? But also you're saying like the diet with a bunch of I'm guessing like added sugar. Because also one thing I was wondering too, but it might be that life expectancy, like for example, like do other animals, it could be apes or any type of animal, do they also have like teeth problems too? Or are they just more resistant?
To some extent. Again, with animals, for the most part, they eat healthier stuff, right? There are a lot of dental problems with like domestic pets, dogs and cats. They get gum disease.
Really?
Quite a bit. Yeah, absolutely. And to a lesser extent, they get cavities, but really, like especially if they're eating like hard food, that stuff tends to just clean up the teeth better. But they do build up tartar, which is what we also build up. And that leads to gum disease. And so there's a lot of dogs and cats domestically that have problems with gum disease. The other thing they do, especially dogs that chew on bones and other hard things, like they will crack or fracture or break teeth.
So I want to go a little more to the beginning. Like I know we mentioned about you want to be or becoming a dentist, but like I guess, was it like right around high school or college? You're like, you know what? I shadowed. I decided to do this. But what was like the next steps? Like, what'd you have to do? You have to apply. How's dental school? Like, what are the steps for all that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly made my final decision like in college. So I mean, whether you're going into medicine or any other kind of healthcare, like your prereqs are kind of a lot the same the first couple of years, right? Of undergrad. And so I was a biology major, like a lot of healthcare, pre-med people and stuff like that. So I was going to have all my prereqs taken care of. But so junior year, I took the DAT. So like you may have heard of the MCAT for medical school. The DAT is the same thing, but for dental school. Test your aptitude in, the sciences, but then also there's like this perceptual ability part. So where they're testing like how you can see things in like 3D. And so there's a bunch of little, tricks to that. But anyway, you take that test, you get a score, right? And then you start applying to dental schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I applied. I got into a few. I ended up choosing University of Minnesota, and loved it up there. It's a dental school is 4 years after your undergrad. So typically we will graduate with like a Bachelor of Science, could be Bachelor of Arts, just depending. But and then another 4 years of dental school, and you come out of there being a general dentist. And then if you want to specialize in other dental fields, then it's another anywhere from a year to 3 years after that.
So is there a difference? No, there has to be a difference, I think, because I mentioned it. So a dentist and an orthodontist, what's the main difference?
So it's just how specialized you get.
Okay.
Right? Like a general dentist can do anything they feel like they have enough training to do. So I did like a lot of extra training for like clear aligners, like Invisalign, stuff like that. Right. So I do that. An orthodontist is someone that's all they do is straighten teeth, right? Like they specialize in that. And so they're doing traditional braces. They might do clear aligners, depending on how specialized they are, they can do different things. But that's another like 2 years after dental school.
Okay.
Specialized in orthodontics. Yeah.
How many different like specialties are there, or what kind of categories are there?
Yeah. Quite a few. So there's orthodontics, which is straightening teeth, right? Braces and stuff. There's endodontics, which is like doing root canals.
Oh, they just do that.
They just do root canals. So they get all the cases that like I don't want to do or don't feel comfortable doing, right? Like the more complex stuff. There are oral surgeons. Okay. And they do, we always think about, they take out your wisdom teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like go to sleep, they take out your wisdom teeth, but they do so much more. Like they can do facial reconstructions, like big time, really super serious stuff. So they do that whole gamut. And that's actually like a lot of times that's like 4 more years after dental school. So, and you can get to oral surgery from med school or dental school.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just do more training. There's periodontics, which specializes in teeth and gums. Okay, so severe gum disease, bone grafting around teeth, trying to preserve teeth. But they also do like both oral surgeons, periodontists. They all do like they can do implants, do surgical stuff like that. So
you said
endodontist. Yep.
Okay, that's what my wife Myra had. Because I think it was like a year or two, a year and a half ago. One of the front teeth where I guess ever since she was little, she had a problem with it, and then they did a root canal, and then it turned like brown or black or something like that. It was fading, and then I think they mentioned that there was like a specialist over there, I think in Sioux City. First I was like, why don't we just do it here? But yeah, now I'm because that's all they do, just the root canals or stuff like that.
Yeah, and especially like on a tooth that may have already had a root canal or something like that.
Yep,
that's a much more complex situation. right? And so that is totally in the wheelhouse of endodontist, the specialist.
Ah, okay, that makes sense because they already had a root canal, but I guess something failed or something, and that's why they recommended that other place. So can so if you're a root canal, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's when they cut the root out, right? Or like it's not attached?
No,
Oh
that's
no.
totally incorrect.
Oh,
But a lot of
yeah.
people think that, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have a root there anymore. No, you still have a root, but inside of every root is this hollow space. There's like a little hollow tube. So if you have a front tooth that's got one big root, right? There's a hollow tube right in the middle of it. And that's where the blood vessels and the nerves live. That's how our teeth get nutrients and feeling and all these things. For whatever reason, sometimes all that stuff in there dies. Okay. And that can be from trauma. It can be from a deep cavity. It can be from a crack in the tooth. Sometimes it just happens and we don't know why. When that happens, bacteria can get in there and live in that hollow space. And because there's no blood flow to it, there's no way to fight it off. And so the root canal is we go in and clean out that hollow space and seal it off so bacteria can't live in there anymore.
Oh, so the tooth is it still alive? Or...
No. Well, not technically,
Okay.
right? It's so at that point, the tooth is not alive. Well, it wasn't alive if the stuff inside was dead anyway.
Okay.
But now we cleaned all the bacteria out and made it so it can't harbor bacteria anymore. And that there won't be any more infection.
Ah, okay. So that's why in the videos when they do it or they show the animation, they're sticking something like in there.
Inside the tooth, yeah.
Ah, okay. I was completely wrong on that one. That's what I thought too.
Yeah, right. Like it's, unless you have done it or seen it or, it can be really confusing.
I want to thank today's sponsor, Main Street Inn. If you're ever in Vermillion, South Dakota and looking for a place to stay, I highly, highly recommend the Main Street Inn. A 7,000 square foot fraternity renovated to be the only bed and breakfast in town. They have a living room, dining room, 5 beautiful rooms if you need to spend the night. You can also book the place for graduations, birthdays, weddings, you name it. The owners are great and they serve breakfast, of course. Go check it out at 221 East Main Street. Link will be in the description below. One thing this one scared me. So with my daughter, this was years ago, I'm going to say like, came here in 2020, I'm going to say 2021. It was one of the same thing. I don't know what's wrong with the front teeth with my family now. But she started forming an abscess, like right there. And then we didn't know what it was. And I think when we went to the dentist, they cleaned it, but they said, hey, it's probably going to come back. Or you probably just gotta take it out. But it wasn't loose or anything. And me thinking I know everything, I'm like, it's not gonna come back. It's just, they popped it, right? No, I did come back. And then we went again and they said, hey, we recommend, taking the tooth out. And then me saying, nah, that's fine. You just clean it again. And no, and it got bigger. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. So, but they did take the tooth out. And then when they took it out, I don't know if it was a few days, but then that hole, like you could see through it, and then you could kind of see the other tooth coming out. And I'm like, man, is that normal? It looked kind of scary because you got a hole, but everything was fine. But they were saying that I think the abscess, it's fine. Well, I guess fine for when they're kids, but if you're an adult, that thing could kill you. Or is that? I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, there have been. Luckily, it's pretty rare, right? But there have been cases where people have died from an untreated dental abscess because it's an infection. I mean, it's like if you got an infection in your hand or foot or toe or finger or whatever, if it doesn't get treated, it spreads, and it spreads throughout your bloodstream. And there have been cases where, like, a tooth on your bottom jaw, the infection got bad enough, but it drained down into the patient's throat, right? It swelled up. It was so aggressive. It swelled up so fast, like they couldn't breathe. And so, yeah, it does happen. There was another case where it was an upper tooth, and it just happened to drain. This does not happen overnight.
Okay.
Like it drains and got so big, and I mean it ended up close to the brain, right? And it got swelling and all these other things. So it can happen, but luckily it's pretty rare.
Throughout your years, what's like one of the craziest cases you've seen with involving teeth?
Oh gosh. We get a lot. Some of the most tragic ones that we see is cancer.
Oh snap!
Oral cancer. Yeah.
How does that happen?
It can be from any number of reasons. I mean, there are genetic conditions that can show up, where you find cancer in the bone, like on one of the routine x-rays or scans that we do, that the patient didn't know. There are certain cancers that if they metastasize or travel through the body, they can end up, there's signs in the mouth. Some of the more common are like cheek, lip, tongue cancers from like chewing tobacco.
Okay.
And again, fortunately, like I haven't found a lot of them, but that's a bad day.
What about something a little less aggressive involving like, super loose teeth? I've seen, man, I don't know what I'm looking at on YouTube now. I've seen videos where I think it involves like someone that's never, I guess, had years without brushing. It's always building tartar. So they do those cleanings, but there's some that I've seen it, like the front, like all of this in the front part or the bottom front of your jaw, the teeth are just like loose, like the whole thing. Like you could wiggle them and it's moving. But how does it get to that point?
Unfortunately, we see that a lot.
Really?
Yeah. That's advanced gum disease. Okay. And so gum disease is a little bit of a misnomer because it affects the underlying bone, right? And as gum disease gets worse and worse, you lose bone around your teeth. And the gums kind of go with it, right? The gums are attached to the bone. And gum disease, for the most part, doesn't hurt. And so, like, if somebody has an abscess, they like, bam, they're coming in right away because it hurts, But gum disease is just a slow, progressive disease that's basically from just tartar buildup on your teeth and too much bacteria in there. It causes inflammation in the gums. The bone around your teeth hates that, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take myself away from this inflammation, and you get less and less bone around the teeth until now all of a sudden your teeth are loose. By the time they're loose, it's kind of too late a lot of times.
What do they have to do? Just take them out, or
take them out? Because you can't put the bone back all the way around the teeth, right? You can fill like little defects if it's one little part or one little thing, but if it's just advanced gum disease like that, there's no going back. And if we catch it early, we can like maintain it and make it healthy, and we can and actually get a little bit back, and keep the teeth for a really long time. But if it's too far gone, we're gonna lose teeth.
So with the advances of medicine and science, nowadays can we like reverse the damage? What do you think in the future we can? Like, hey, it's gone bad, but hey, now if we do something, you can recover, or it's still not there yet. Like for example, maybe the bone loss or like a tooth.
Well, again, to a point, right? Like we can, if it hasn't gotten too bad, we can get some back. Yeah, absolutely. By keeping it clean enough. Sometimes there's certain like laser treatments where you can get some reattachment of the gums to the root. There could be something in the future with like stem cells, maybe. Like I don't know, that's like way out there yet. But it's really the treatment really is prevention, honestly.
And what's I'm guessing the most common thing is brush your teeth twice a day, floss. That simple?
Yeah, it's like a super simple formula. And we're like one of the only professions that tries to put ourselves out of business by telling people, like, hey, you got to brush and floss. Like if you just do this, right, like you probably won't get cavities and gum disease. And if you come in for cleanings and stuff like that, right? But what? People don't listen to me, so they still have cavities, right? So, yeah, it's a really simple formula. Like get your teeth cleaned twice a year, at least. Brush twice a day, floss once a day.
So why do you think? Why is it so common that people don't do it? I guess I didn't do it before. I don't know if you know what. I think it's because of laziness. Maybe I'm just like because when I was a kid, that's all I would brush my teeth in the morning. I wouldn't do it at night, and then I wouldn't floss at all. And then when I go to the dentist, they're poking me, and my teeth or my gums are bleeding. And then the first thing I'm like, whoa, they're poking me. That's why they're bleeding. But it's not because they're, I'm guessing, inflamed. And
yeah.
So it's that simple. Just brush, floss.
Yeah, it really is. And there's so many, there's a lot of myths out there, right? Like, well, I've never had a cavity. Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people never had cancer until they had cancer, right? But like things change. Like we think about teeth as just like rocks stuck in it, like it's just masonry or something. Like it's never going to change, right? But it's biology, and things are always changing in there. The environment is always changing. So, I mean, just because you never had a cavity doesn't mean you can't get one, and then, or like there's a lot of people, I'll hear, well, my grandparents had dentures, my parents had dentures. I'm going to lose all my teeth. Okay, well, if you would brush and floss more, like, I mean, you just kind of gave up, right? Uh-huh. So just, if you did do more, we can overcome a lot of that. There's some genetic component for sure. Just from the way, what's in our saliva, is it more acidic, stuff like that. But we can overcome a lot of genetics with just really good prevention.
What about, speaking of some like myths, I've seen, I don't know if it's still happening, but some trends like they're using, what's it called, black charcoal, or there's one that he said he doesn't brush his teeth. He has some, I don't know, some type of twig, and he like chews on it, and it kind of makes bristles. And he say, if you just chew on this, you don't have to do this or that. Does any of that stuff work, or is it probably just simple to use toothpaste, brush your teeth, floss?
Yeah, I mean,
that's simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. Like basically, he's basically making a really bad brush out of a twig, right? Where you could just go to the store and buy a really good brush. It would be better. I mean, if you want to save like a couple bucks or whatever, like, and want to make a toothbrush out of a twig, I guarantee it's probably not working as good, because it's a simple solution, right? You just get the plaque off your teeth, and that's just brush it off there, and there's things that can enhance that. I mean, there's a lot of really good electric brushes that have been shown to actually do a better job, because if they vibrate at like a really high frequency, that has been shown to break up plaque better, but it's just mechanical. Like, don't have plaque sitting on your teeth. Like, just get it off there. So brush really well. Make sure you're getting all the sides. Flossing, that's all flossing is it's just wiping the plaque off the sides of your teeth, really. We think about, well, we're getting those little bits of corn and meat out of there, right? But that's not what flossing is. The flossing is to wipe the plaque off the sides of the teeth. And if we just did that consistently, we'd all be more healthy.
What about implants? You think it's too extreme just taking all your teeth out and then just putting one of those implants? I've seen a guy, but his teeth are like really, really bad. And then, they took all of them out. You can see his like gums, and then they made, like, it looks like teeth, and they just screwed them on. But is there like consequences with that, or?
Well, sure. Nothing is ever going to be as good as your real teeth. Now, if something happens and you lose a tooth or several teeth or whatever, like too far gone, whatever it is, and they have to be, and you're going to lose these teeth. The best thing you can replace them with is an implant. Like that's going to be as close as you're going to get to a real tooth. But just to be like, oh, to heck with it. I don't want to brush. I'm just going to do implants. Is a little extreme. And also, those things that you see, like where it's several implants and like a whole thing on there, aren't cheap.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, you could do that, or you could, probably buy a really nice used car. Like no kidding. Like it's not cheap. But compared to not having anything, or compared to like a regular old denture or something, it's great. Like it's really good and it's solid. However, if you don't take care of your gums, like the bone and gums is still holding those implants in.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like
you could still lose the
you still got to take care of things, that, and it's not like putting an implant in the bone is not like just screwing a piece of wood. Like there's a whole bunch of biological processes where the bone has to adhere to that implant. And there's a whole bunch of little teeny things in the body that have to go right for that bone to grow back around the implant. Because the bone's always changing. It's like, it's always being remodeled. And if you have systemic problems, diabetes is one that's, takes a long time to heal from things. But there's a whole bunch of other just health problems that can totally complicate that. Smokers have a lot of complications with implants not working. So there's a lot that goes into it.
This is one thing that I think is really strange with the teeth, with our, human anatomy. I feel like they're so vulnerable because we got to take care of them. They're vulnerable, but they're durable. But like, why do you think that's, I don't know, like, I don't know if I could say the right things, but like, what's the point of like having, I guess, I don't know, teeth, but we still got to take care of them? Because I feel like it's not the same with, I don't know, our hair, our limbs or fingers, or maybe I'm thinking wrong. Do you feel me?
Yeah,
Kinda?
I hear what you're saying, I think.
Maybe.
Well, so we wash our hands and take showers, right? So, I mean, if we just never did that, the consequences would be bad.
Okay, yeah, right.
But the mouth is probably the most harsh environment ever. I mean, there's full of bacteria just naturally, and that's not good or bad. It just is. It's wet in there all the time. Like we chew like everything under the sun, from soft things all the way up to really hard things. I mean, yeah, the teeth are like the hardest thing we have, the enamel that covers our teeth. However, it does a lot of work. And you think about how much we use them in any given day. We're asking a lot of our teeth, right? And so I think, and they're actually an amazing design because each one has a different job, because all the anatomy is different. It all has a specific purpose, the way they work together. I guess if you think about all the things we do with them, they're pretty resilient, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought about it like that. I guess we take what's that word? We take our teeth for granted, especially like since when you're younger you don't brush your teeth or floss at all.
Oh, totally. You just assume they're always going to be there, right?
Especially eating the candy part when you're a kid. That is really, really bad. But I'm so surprised that I haven't. But like you were saying, I haven't got the cavity yet. Now I take care of it because I would be eating candy. I just never had it. Just the gum thing with the bleeding. Now I do pay attention. I don't know what would change. No, after I got braces, because they would say, hey, you got to floss. And flossing with braces was like the worst.
Super hard.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So I had that. And the worst part is they gave me what do you call it? Is it like an expander, like on top?
Oh yeah.
I remember that first day they put it on, and I couldn't swallow, I couldn't eat. It was horrible. I tried to take it off. I don't know why that was like a bad thing. It was horrible. And then also, but before that, before I got the braces, they also took one of these teeth out.
Yep.
So I guess after I got the braces, or after I got the braces off, I'm like, hey, now when I brush and when I floss, this is easy. This is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Before it was like a bunch of work. So it's kind of natural doing it. But then after that, when I came into South Dakota, I never had problems with the wisdom teeth. But they always said, hey, get them out, especially when you're young. But one of them started bothering me. It just, like the gum around it was inflamed.
Yep.
So when you bite, I feel like I was chewing on it. I'm like, all right, let's just get them out. And they're like, you want to get all of them out? I'm like, sure. So I got all of them out. And I was prepping up because I saw the videos. I'm like, oh, they're going to put me under anesthesia. I'm going to get all loopy and this and that. Let me take time off work. I get in there. They just, pop me right there. And then I swear it was like 15 minutes. They're like, and they're like, you're good. I'm like, well, that was quick.
Yeah.
I was expecting the anesthesia part,
Right.
but I didn't get anything like that. So I was a little disappointed. But I wanted to get that feeling, see how it was.
Well, yeah. Talk to some people that have had a hard time with it. You won't be so disappointed. It's because they're not all that easy.
Because they come from like because mine were they came out, I guess, average because they just popped them out.
Yeah.
There's some that are, I guess, sideways or.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wisdom teeth, they can come in every which way or just not come in at all. I mean, some are just down there in the bone, like laying on their side or partly on their side. The likelihood that wisdom teeth are going to cause a problem in someone's lifetime is so high that that's why we recommend typically that you get them out. And also getting them out when you're younger is way easier because a lot of times the roots aren't fully formed yet. So the whole situation is just better. If you wait till you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and then start having problems with a wisdom tooth, it's typically worse.
With the wisdom teeth, do you think in the future, like long in the future, we'll get to that point where they don't ever develop? Or
yeah, totally. There's already so like I never had wisdom teeth at all.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh snap.
Yeah. So neither one of my parents did. So then I didn't. And it's just a weird evolutionary thing, right? Like eventually there's more and more people that just don't have them.
Oh, and then that trait gets passed along.
Yeah, but we're talking, it's going to take another couple thousand years probably.
Okay. See, I remember my biology because I studied biology too. So, So before that though, because I know we talked about teeth and dentistry and all that, but you mentioned you like the science and you did stuff with your hands. Was there anything else that you were thinking about besides being a dentist?
Sure. Like, I looked into a lot of health fields, right? I was, kind of medicine or dentistry were kind of the big ones, but I also looked at chiropractics and other stuff. And, I don't know. Dentistry just seemed more fun, right? Like after shadowing a few MDs, and they were great, but they spent a lot of their time just meeting with people, and either referring them to some other MD because it's so super specialized now, or just writing prescriptions for this and that. And so, I guess for me, that was a little bit boring.
You want that more hands-on stuff?
Yeah. Like I can fix this like now, and I can see the result like now, and it's really satisfying to be able to see that problem, fix that problem, and just make it all good.
Are you also into like any science movies, science fiction, anything like that?
Yeah, somewhat.
What do you like? What's your favorite? Like, it depends because usually this happens when who was I talking with? I was talking with someone and we just started talking about video games and it's the science fiction with a physics professor. Is there a favorite movie you like? Science fiction movie?
Oh gosh.
Here, actually, let me ask this: are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Now, are you a Marvel or DC fan?
Yeah, Marvel movies were good.
Okay, but you know Star Wars more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up kind of on Star Wars too, like the first trilogy.
We're at the same age. I'm 29.
47.
Why does everyone look so young around here?
I don't know. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah, no, it's one thing. I mean, Myra mentioned, or we talk about it, and we're being honest. Like, I don't know if it's the cold weather that freezes the skin, but all of you guys look way younger than like the people from the south where I'm from. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sun, and maybe here it's just cold. But you guys got excellent skincare.
We're definitely out of the sun a lot more months of the year when we're huddled inside in the cold, probably. But
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of like that cold, like what was it, 2 days ago? It was like free. Yesterday we went to they had that parade of lights.
Oh yeah,
Man, I feel like I was the only one, not the only one, but we went home first. I layered up. I put my what do you call it, my coveralls, my jacket. I put what is ski mask and my beanie, gloves, and I was still cold. My friends were like, "It looks like you're all warmed up." I'm like, "No, it's freezing." And then I seen I need to get him on. I know who he is. I know he is. He's a professor. He was there with shorts and just a hoodie, and I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know how you can do it."
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
he likes the cold.
yeah. And then I feel like sometimes me and my wife, when we mess around about it, like me and him are probably opposites because I'm used to the hot weather. So in the summer, I'll be wearing. You'll still probably see me like in a long sleeve, not a sweater, but in a long sleeve. Once it's like low 90s, and then once it hits like 100, then I'm like, okay, now I can wear a short sleeve, but I'll still be wearing pants. That's how it is.
If it was 65 all the time, that'd be perfect for me.
65?
Yeah, totally.
See, if it was like
I don't like the heat.
I feel like 80s is fine, perfect around here. The 65, I'm already wearing my my jacket. I'll start wearing that jacket. So when was it? October? Yeah, late September, October. That's when I was like, oh man, that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
if it's higher than 80s, I'm in the water for sure, trying to get less hot.
I want to go back to that Star Wars thing because I've been trying to get my wife to watch it. So I like the original trilogy. I think they're great. The prequels, I like the third one. And then the new trilogy, I think they call it the Skywalker. No, the new ones from Disney. The first one I actually enjoyed. I didn't enjoy the second one, and the third one I was like, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, I'm telling Myra, I'm like, hey, you gotta watch the Star Wars with me. She's like, no, it's probably lame. I'm like, no, it's actually they're pretty good movies because also like the Clone Wars, the animated ones are pretty good. The video games, like especially the new ones, are pretty good. And also like I was telling her, hey, you gotta watch like The Mandalorian, but she doesn't want to watch it. But please tell me why someone should watch Star Wars.
I don't want to say it's a guy thing, but I have come across way more guys that are into Star Wars than women, for sure. But yeah, and like you said, not all Star Wars are created equal, right? Like the second trilogy, like the first one, not great. And then but like Mandalorian, good show, right?
It's a good show.
Yeah. And I'm not a huge like gamer, and I didn't get into like the Clone Wars like animated thing ever. But yeah, I mean, everybody should see Star Wars. Like that's my personal opinion.
I wonder if it is a guy thing because we were at one of our friends' job. We went there, and then I was like, hey, what do you have? And it was, I don't know if it was like a Boba Fett helmet or the Mandalorian. And he said he just got it for Christmas, or no, for his birthday a few days ago or a few weeks ago. And he says, you want to try it on? And I'm like,
Totally.
yeah, of course I want to try it on.
Yep.
And then like, I put it on and we're kind of like playing with it. And then my wife's like, you guys like almost like, 30s or something? I'm like, it's pretty.
Yeah. She's like, grow up.
Yeah. Then,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And then like, I don't know. And then like, I know sometimes this happens a lot. And I'm pretty sure every dad has done it. You go to the store, grab some lightsabers, play with your kids, do that. And my wife was like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, well, it's just fun. And then like I've seen, yeah. And then like I've seen those really good lightsabers online or like some videos where like, it makes the noise in different colors. And then when you swing, it does it. I'm like, this stuff it's insane. But Myra doesn't. She doesn't understand it.
We like to play with swords and we like to build forts. I mean, it's like we're simple. We're simple machines,
Yep. You don't play any video games?
Not really. No, I kind of caught that. So like the first Nintendo that came out, right?
Yeah.
I was like, played the heck out of that. A lot of Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, like Mario, stuff like that. And then I just kind of, as like everything got more advanced, I don't know, I just kind of grew out of it. Like I didn't grow up with like the really super cool video games like everybody's playing now. We used to like go to the arcade, right? Like that was super fun. So yeah, I don't know. I just never really got into it. I also I'm an outdoors guy. Like,
okay.
That's kind of my hobby. And so, usually I was outside doing something.
Do you hunt?
Yep.
So
fish.
Okay. I've never been hunting and I've had people ask me, hey, you should, one day go. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. How does that work though? Because, this is way different than the video games, I'm guessing. But do you guys got to get like a permit or is there like specialized weapons or how does that work?
Oh yeah, totally. So, I mean, it all depends on what you're hunting. There are permits, licenses, like for everything. And again, it depends on what you want to hunt, right? Everything from pheasants to ducks to deer and elk and what you want to hunt with. Like you can use, shotgun, rifle, bow for specific different things and ways that you hunt. It's like a lot of hobbies. I mean, you can kind of make it as specialized or as nuanced as you want to. Same with fishing. You can fish with bait, you can fish with a spinning reel, you can use a fly rod. Like it just depends on what your favorite is.
They don't got noodling here, right? There's no catfish?
There are catfish.
Oh, there are?
But noodling is not much of a thing this far north.
Okay. It's a southern thing then.
It's a southern thing, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I wouldn't put my arm like in a random hole. I would be too scared. Like really, really scared. I don't know how they
You and me both. Like I don't want to go in there and find a snapping turtle or like a beaver because that does not sound fun.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't do it. I don't know how they do it. One thing I saw last year, so at Yankton around, I'm gonna say February, because we went there. We were just there just to, see the frozen lake. And I guess this is a common thing. I saw people on top of it fishing, but I saw them driving their truck on it.
Yeah.
And I heard like you could hear, I think it's the ice.
Yep.
But is that like a normal thing or are they just too extreme?
No, that's a huge thing. Especially as you go further north into South Dakota and you get up into the glacial lakes like Watertown, Aberdeen, all that stuff where there's just a ton of lakes and it's a lot colder up there. It's huge. Ice fishing is huge up there. Like there's people driving around lakes all over the place up there. As soon as the ice, it hits like probably a foot thick, like people are driving.
And the ice can hold all of that?
Mm-hmm. Most of the time.
Okay.
Every once in a while, there's somebody that wants to get out there too early or hits a weak spot or whatever because it's not all even either. Like there's some parts that are thicker than others, or if there's a spring in the lake somewhere that like makes the ice thinner, like it's dangerous.
Okay.
It's also super fun. I can't wait to go ice fishing. Like I'm counting down the days now until the ice is thick enough.
When is that? Like around what?
They're already fishing like far up north.
Really?
Yeah,
So what
but
about?
not driving out.
Okay. So what about? Let's say like over there in Yankton. Probably January or
Yeah,
February?
for sure January. Maybe it just depends on the kind of weather we get.
It's always cold, right?
Well, yeah, but there's different cold, right? So we make more ice on those 0-degree days than we do on the 25-degree days. We make more ice overnight. So when the nights are longer now, we make more ice. If we get a big snow before the ice is thick, the snow insulates. And so you don't make as much ice. So, I mean, there's a ton of little factors that go into it. So we learn to be very careful.
So have you lived here your whole entire life?
Yep.
Okay. Now I need you to tell me, and I need you to be honest, because yesterday when I was freezing, I told them that I think this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, it's gonna be like 57. It's gonna be warm. Well, for them warm, and they said, "Ooh, that means we're gonna have a super cold winter." How true is that, or just we?
I think that's just talk and speculation.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's like Farmer's Almanac stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll take the nice days. I mean, that sounds great.
Because every year, I don't know what it is, but ever since I've been here since 2020, it's gotten like worse. That first year, 2020, it snowed. Then in 2021, it didn't snow that much, but it was really cold. And then 22, it was cold and snow. And then last year, it was cold and snow, but then like a bunch more. And I keep telling everyone, I was like, hey, this isn't normal, because I thought this global warming stuff is supposed to make everything warmer. That's why I moved up a little more north.
Right.
You know, I thought it would be a little more warmer in the future, but I feel like every year it gets really, really cold or more colder.
Yeah, I guess I think over the last 4 years, that's actually been pretty average.
This is average?
Like pretty normal. Yeah. Everything goes in cycles, right? Like, I mean, we'll have a string of years where we don't get hardly any snow. Then we'll get a string of years where we get a bunch of snow. In general, I swear there was more snow like when I was younger growing up, though.
So there was more snow back in the day. Yeah. So it can get worse.
Oh, it can absolutely get worse.
Really? I thought
right, man.
I've never seen it like that last year. Or last year, that's the first time I've seen that much snow.
Yeah. Last year was a lot.
But you've seen more. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I don't mean to freak you out, but
I
have a shovel ready.
They say that I'll get used to it. My wife and my kid, they got used to it. I just can't get used to it. Because I think it's kind of scary, the snow or the cold weather. Because like sometimes I talk to my parents and they're like, hey, how's everything? I'm like, it's freezing. They're like, but it's you guys it's cold here and it's hot over there. I'm like, no. Because when it's cold, it's like cold. Like you can die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over there, like, sure, let's say it gets 110. You could be fine outside maybe a few hours. Maybe you get like a sunburn. But here, like, 15 minutes, like a negative degree, I think you could just, like, I would die. I think I would.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that happens, right? Like, people's cars stall out, or you go in the ditch, or, something like that. And yeah, that cold is dangerous, and so you'll find a lot of people that have, like, little safety kits and stuff in their car just in case, if they're going on a trip or whatever. But yeah, I mean, thankfully we've got cell phones now and all that stuff. And it's a lot, emergency stuff is so much more responsive than it used to be. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's dangerous.
Have you ever drove in like the deep snow?
Sure.
You have?
Yeah.
I'm saying it was 2 years ago. Yeah. So my wife is really into like the fitness and the gym stuff. We go like every morning. And I don't know when it was, probably like December, January. It snowed, but it was kind of, I think it was like a foot of snow. I'm going to say a foot. Because I looked outside. I'm like, no, there's no way because it's still snowing. We can't leave. She goes, no, we got to go. I'm like, And then she gives me the excuse. She's like, "You just don't want to go to the gym." I'm like, "No, it's like it's snowing. I don't want to get caught." First of all,
Yeah, it's a great excuse not to go to the gym.
yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, so I have a Tacoma, but like how my friends say it, I have a Texas truck because it's not even 4x4. So I'm like, it's not gonna go. I'm like, she said, "No, let's go." I'm like, okay. So I drive where we leave the parking lot, and then I'm like, all right. So we're stuck like in the middle of the parking lot. It's like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm reversing it, and it's just, I'm like, great. So there we go. It's just us shoveling, trying to get out, or trying to like clear the road to come back in. And then I'm all angry about it. And then she's angry at me. I'm like, "Why are you angry at me?" And then she says, "'Cause you're angry." But I'm like, "I'm angry because like it's snowing, and you know I could have been asleep, but no, it was because I didn't want to go to the gym. That's what it was." But
all that shoveling was actually a good workout. So there you go. Look on the bright side.
You
got your workout in.
There you go. So we are almost out of time. Is there? Oh, I do got one thing. This might be off track or off topic, but not too off topic. I mean, it's probably super weird. Have you ever had like a dream where you lose your teeth or they wiggle?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I've had dreams where they all shatter, like all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know why that happens? Yes or no? Or it's just random? Because I have had them, and you could feel it, and it's like super scary.
Yeah, I think typically when you have that dream, you're usually like clenching or grinding in your sleep, which is usually caused by stress. And so that's all coming out in your subconscious and causing you to like clench your jaws together. That seems to be the most common thing that I run into when people tell me that. They're like, "Oh yeah, like my muscles have been like really tight, and I did have some sensitivity and stuff because they were just like clenching for a few nights." So yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I had it. It was, I'm gonna say 2 months ago, and now I will not forget it. So in my dream, say I felt like my teeth were loose, or they were loose, and then they came out, and then I woke up. I woke up from the bed, and I was like, "Oh man, okay, I'm good." And my teeth were still wiggling. And I'm like, "What?" And then I woke up again, and I'm like, I just had like a
oh man, yeah,
dream.
Yeah.
But I was so scared. I don't know when that happens. Like it's just one of those. I don't know.
It's the things that happen in our subconscious at night. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, yeah, crazy dreams.
But now I could start ending this. Is there any last things or last words you want to give out? Where can people find y'all?
So, Knutson Family Dentistry. We are on the corner we're right on Cherry Street, right when you come into town on the east side. So, like, corner of Cherry and Crawford. And so that's the best way to find us. Or check out our website, KnutsonFamilyDentistry.com. One parting word, I would say. So, like, we're going to hear a lot about fluoride this next 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's going to be this push of, like, how it's poison and all that stuff, right? It's not. We need it. Kids need it for their developing teeth. We need fluoride in the water. Like, and just anecdotally, like, my patients that use fluoride have less cavities than the ones that don't. I mean, just going to say that. So, like, is it dangerous in high levels and super high levels? Sure. But a lot of things are.
All right. So fluoride should be okay.
Yeah, fluoride's fine.
Okay. Sweet. All right. I do want to thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.